Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Organically David here, and welcome back to my channel, Organically David, where we discuss and explore holistic approaches to health and wellness, not just from a physical perspective, but also from the mental health perspective as well. So, thank you for joining me on my journey as I strive to live organically and authentically in every single way. And it is my goal, my duty to help you do the same. Today's video, I'm so super excited to share with you part two of my wife's journey, where we united conventional cancer treatment with holistic treatment as well. I was able to share with you my journey of applying my 18 years of experience in organic lifestyle coaching to my wife through her breast cancer journey with stage 2B breast cancer. Together, we navigated the challenging pathway of chemotherapy while minimizing and eliminating major and minor side effects. And that's what I'm really excited about to share that information with you all. Because the side effects of doxorubicin, or some people may call it adriamycin, or the red devil, we like to call it the blood of Jesus, and then also Taxol. They're very strong chemos. But throughout this process, we implemented some holistic measures to decrease and eliminate some of the side effects, as well as we prevented and preventing some of the long-term damage from chemotherapy. We use so many different methods like increased hydration, intermittent fasting. We consulted a naturopathic oncologist who set us up with IV vitamin infusions, and more specifically, high dose vitamin C. We used cold capping to preserve and to decrease hair loss, as well as we used ice gloves and ice socks to prevent neuropathy that's caused by Taxol, that can be caused by Taxol. We'll discuss all of those issues, and we'll go a little bit into the emotional toll of chemo and some of the ways and things, tips you can use to combat it. Let's dive into the details right away, but I want you to know that the goal here was to minimize the side effects of these drugs. With chemotherapy drugs, they are just a group of drugs. They're potent, and they're used to treat a cancer, and specifically here, breast cancer treatment. They can have side effects. The ones that you know of, like the nausea, the fatigue, hair loss, some of the weight loss, and neuropathy is not one that I thought of, but our goal was to minimize these side effects and support my wife's overall well-being throughout her treatment. You know, mental health is something that's going to make or break this entire process, make or break your process altogether. So um, let's just jump right into the tips and the things that we did. Once we decided we're doing chemo, this is what we're doing. We focused on number one. One of the first steps we took was to increase her hydration. Um, we prioritize the hydration, and just adequate hydration is essential during chemotherapy and just in general, it as it helps flush out the toxins, and it supports your overall body function. By ensuring that she was well hydrated, we aim to minimize the impact of chemo on her body, and potentially we reduce the inflammation. It's unseen, but we do know that short term, the side effects of fatigue and nausea was eliminated. And some of the ways that you can increase your hydration. I mean, the just drink more water, right? But yes and no, especially when you're on chemotherapy, it has a tendency to change your taste buds, and it can make water taste metallic. So you need to find ways to make water more palatable to you. You can drink teas and things like that, but uh, find anything that's going to increase how palatable the water is. And so you can add. We like sparkling water, so we have a soda stream. We have one anyway, but we have a soda stream. We use that a lot. You can add lemon juice, tea, make tea bags. Uh, You can even make that sparkling tea. Any way to make it so it's more appealing to you, because it's going to be difficult to get enough water if you don't like the taste of it. It's just going to force you. You're going to gulp it, and you want to really just drink the water consistently versus just gulping the water. Um, so you want to find ways to make it more palatable. The second way, which is unconventional but it works, is to you're going to get the chemotherapy, and they're going to give you saline. They're going to hang the saline solution. They're going to hang some water up there, um, and that is just there to help push the chemo drugs through, along with your pre-meds, and also to flush your port if you have a port. That makes sure that all the drugs get all the way through the line. So you're only getting, if they hang maybe a 500 cc bag, which they were hanging majority of the time we went in, they hung a 500 cc bag. We would only get maybe 150 cc's, and they would just throw the rest of it away. And I think that when I saw them throw away, if for whatever reason they hung a 1000 cc bag and they threw away the whole thing afterwards, after the second time, maybe second or third time, I began to ask each time, each nurse, could we just get the extra hydration? And some of them were like, yeah, no, I gotta check with the doctor first. It should be fine, but I gotta check with the doctor first. Some were just like, oh, okay, I'll just give you an extra 100. And then by the time we got towards the end, they were just giving us the whole bag. Really, honestly, they're charging the insurance companies anyway for the full bag anyway. So to me, why throw it away? It's not going to throw your electrolytes off that bad. It's not going to give you that much more hydration to put you into a place where you're overhydrated, like you're consuming too much water. It's not that much. I believe 1000 cc bag is what, 32 ounces total. I believe somewhere around there. So if you're talking about 500 cc's, that's not that much. That's one water bottle basically, of water. So ask them if you can get that extra hydration uh, through your through your saline solution, because that's going to uh, go directly into your vein and directly into your body for processing, for hydrating your body. And that, again, the benefit is to flush the body of all the toxins, not just with the chemotherapy, just all together, and just to hydrate your joints. And because that's going to help you long term, if they put you on any type of hormone treatments or anything like that, you want to make sure that your joints and all that stay cushioned and well hydrated all together. Because going into chemical menopause, if you're not already in menopause, can cause achy bones and stuff like that. So getting that extra hydration will help your body stay uh, hydrated all the time. And then I'm going to try to not be so long-winded with this one, intermittent fasting. But there's so many benefits here. We incorporated intermittent fasting into my wife's treatment plan. Generally, throughout the weeks, we would follow the 16/8 schedule. Even to this day, we follow the 16/8 schedule. This involves fasting for 16 hours and then having an eating window of 8 hours each day. And then additionally, during chemotherapy sessions, we would extend her fasting period to 48 hours. Research shows and strongly suggests that fasting can potentially enhance the effectiveness of chemotherapy while protecting the healthy cells. It also significantly impacts and helped reduce the side effects such as nausea and fatigue. So there's some remarkable benefits of fasting altogether, and there's a process that it helps cell death and its role in there's a role of cell death in its cancer prevention and treatment. Uh, but just to just briefly, fasting is the intentional abstinence from food and caloric intake for a specific period of time. It's been practiced for centuries due to its health benefits, and in recent years, it's gotten a lot of attention because research is really shining a lot of light on the remarkable advantages of fasting, particularly in relation to cell death and its implications for cancer prevention and its treatment. And I want to just really dive into the benefits of fasting induced cell death and its role in combating cancer. Um, and then I get off the fasting because I can make a 17-hour video about the benefits of fasting. Cell death. Cell death sounds bad, but what is it? It's a natural and essential process that occurs in our bodies naturally. The body already is doing it. There are two prominent forms of cell death, which are called, I always mess these up, so forgive me if I say it incorrectly, but apoptosis and autophagy. Apoptosis is known as programmed cell death. It eliminates the damaged or unwanted cells. Autophagy, on the other hand, is more of like a self-cleaning process that removes the afflicted and dysfunctional cellular components, which promotes cellular renewal and overall health. There is a strong link between fasting and cell death because fasting has been found to enhance both of these processes significantly, which then promotes the elimination of damaged cells and rejuvenating the cellular health overall. So there are a few key ways in which fasting influences these processes. There are enhanced. I'll just give just three, I promise. Enhanced apoptosis. Studies have shown that fasting triggers this process in cancer cells while protecting healthy cells. That's amazing to me because it gets rid of the bad cells and selects the healthy cells and saves them. Fasting promotes the activation of a cellular pathway known as the intrinsic pathway, which is responsible for initiating this apoptosis process. By selectively targeting those cancer cells, fasting then helps eliminate or maybe a better word is limit the tumor growth and progression. Then there's the increased autophagy. Fasting stimulates this process that removes damaged proteins from the cells. And I believe in also removes the organelles from the cells as well. Through autophagy, fasting promotes the recycling of cellular components, reducing the accumulation of harmful substances and ensuring cellular homeostasis. This mechanism can potentially prevent the development of cancer and support cancer treatment by eliminating the damaged components within the cancer cells themselves, which is amazing because this is what you want to do. You have a what's considered cellular junk that is helping get rid of that. And then lastly, reduction of insulin and insulin-like growth factor 1, which is IGF-1. Fasting leads to decreased levels of the insulin and IGF-1 in the body. These hormones play a significant role in cell growth and proliferation, and elevated levels have been associated with an increase of cancer development. By reducing these hormones, fasting helps create an unfavorable environment for the cancer cells to thrive in. It makes your body basically, the cancer is like, I can't take it. I can't live in this environment. So there's a strong role and benefit to fasting for cancer prevention and treatment. The potential is amazing. I mean, just the fasting induced cell death, they extend beyond just the cellular health, and it has so many implications in cancer prevention and treatment, and then also just not just for cancer. I mean, there's so many other benefits like to metabolic improvements, the the weight loss, the reduced inflammation, the enhanced immune system. I mean, there's so many benefits, and I want to. Let me just go ahead and get into the next one uh, before I go off, because I'll go off forever when it comes to fasting. The next thing that we did was high dose vitamin C, and uh, I'm being very generic here because it was very specific to my wife, but this was another strategy we implemented, which was the high dose vitamin C. It's IV administration of high dose vitamin C it really has been studied for the potential benefits during cancer treatment. The research shows that it is a powerful antioxidant that supports the immune system, and it really enhances the effectiveness of chemotherapy. We had to do this under the guidance of a healthcare professional. Uh, we had to get in touch with a naturopathic oncologist, and we also talked to our doctors about it beforehand because we didn't want to do anything that was going to interact with the chemotherapy in a negative way. Uh, and whether they recommended it or not was not part of the conversation. It was more, is it going to harm anything? And so we aim to optimize our body's ability to combat the cancer cells and really minimize the impact of chemotherapy. And we had we had other things in her IV bag, the taurine, glutathione. There was a whole bunch of different other things. But again, I want to keep that generic because it was based off of her specific situation. When we met with a naturopathic oncologist, and we uh, when we met with her, her name was Dr. Keats out of Capital Integrative Health. She's been great. She specializes not only in the naturopath part, but also on the oncology. So she's very, very familiar with the chemotherapy drugs and some of the interactions that can happen with it. She'll tell you, okay, based off of your labs, so she'll have you run labs as well. And she's looking for something different than your conventional doctors are looking for. So she wants to support you through your chemo journey. She's great because she doesn't tell you, hey, don't do chemo, don't do this, that, whatever. She says, okay, you're on this chemo drug. This has been known to do this. So let's put our focus on here to strengthen your heart, to um, talk about hydration. We talk about these different vitamins to help support you through the chemotherapy journey. And when I'm talking about high dose vitamin C, we're talking about 50 grams. It's not like you can just take a handful of vitamin C supplements and just think you're going to be fine. That'll tear your stomach up. It can cause issues like impacted colon. I mean, it could cause so many problems there. You wouldn't be able to take that many anyway, or I guess you technically could, but I definitely wouldn't advise that. That's going to put you in some trouble if you try to take that much. And you don't absorb all of that anyway if you take it orally. I think I want to say somewhere around 60% or so of that is actually absorbed into your bloodstream, versus when you are getting IV infusion, it's somewhere around the 90% absorption rate. So it's instant, and it's instant absorption. It's not like it has to go through the significant process uh, to get the absorption. So high dose vitamin C was something we looked at. We also looked at some of the other ones that are out there, like mistletoe and some of the other plans, but mistletoe is very, very expensive, and it was taking too long to find someone who can actually administer that and to really weigh the benefits of it. I've known people who've gone and who have done it, and it turned out to be okay. I've had some that had side effects from that as well, used mainly an allergy because it is a plant. But it's something that you can look into if you can find it in your area. It's expensive, and it can be tough to find as well. But there are some benefits to mistletoe therapy out there. You just have to do your research and find a place that's willing to do it. And again, I would stay away from anyone who is so dead set against doing one thing or another unless they have actual factual uh, information on why you should not do it. We had someone, a surgeon, tell us don't do mistletoe therapy because, but they didn't have a reason for it. They just said it's going to make your cancer worse, but they didn't have any science or anything to back that up. They were just saying it because they were hostile towards holistic medicine. So look into vitamin C, high dose vitamin C, as well as other IV infusions. And that also helped with the hydration because we were getting an extra 1,000 cc bag as well. And we talked about the naturopathic oncologist. We wanted to make sure that we were making an informed decision, that we had a whole team. We wanted to seek the guidance of a naturopathic oncologist because we wanted someone who's specialized in oncology. They specialize in integrating natural therapies with conventional cancer treatments. And when you collaborate with a naturopathic oncologist, we gained even more information. I felt validated because a lot of the things she was recommending, everything she was recommending, were the exact same things that I told my wife to take anyway. But she helped monitor the things that I could not do, like order blood tests, and I can't order high dose vitamin C and inject vitamin D and all that kind of stuff. So it gave us more confidence in our choices, and it added the holistic perspective on her care. So if you have one in your area, consult with a healthcare professional who understands both worlds. That was a great link between the two as well. I know they can be kind of hard to find, but we found one who was virtual. Again, her name was Dr. Keats at Capital Integrative Health, but you can find one anywhere in your area. Then we did cold capping for hair preservation. Hair loss is a common side effect of chemotherapy, and it can really have a significant emotional toll on a person's mental health. Uh, and so to address this, we opted for cold capping during my wife's treatments. You put the cold cap on during the infusion. So cold capping, it just involves a specialized cap, basically just a big ice pack, but it's shaped in a certain way to cool your scalp, which reduces the blood flow to the hair follicles during chemotherapy sessions. So the thought behind it is that you limit the exposure of the hair follicles to the chemotherapy drugs. Cold capping has shown to reduce hair loss, and it really helps alleviate the emotional distress associated with the hair loss. So it's a way of taking proactive steps to preserve your hair, and it can positively impact your self-esteem and overall well-being during the treatment process. I know that a lot of people may say, look, you have cancer, your hair is the last thing you should be concerned about. And I would tell that person to shut the hell up because because if you're going through chemotherapy, you're going through cancer journey, you want so bad to feel and look like a normal person, even though that you know that you're technically not at that particular moment. You want to feel normal. You already have people looking at you like, oh, patting you on the back. I'm so sorry. Here's some flowers and some whatever. You already have people treating you a certain way because you have cancer, and that's all they want to talk about. So sometimes you just want to go outside and not feel like you have cancer. You want to look like it. And some people have a much longer journey. My wife was 5 months, but then there's people who are on it for years, and then there's some people who are on chemo for the rest of their lives. And for anything that you can do to feel normal, obviously there are wigs, there are all kinds of stuff out there, scarves and all of that. But if you can save your hair, that'd be a great thing to do. And I think with cold capping, we did penguin cold capping, which I thought was great. Um, it is labor intensive for the capper, the person getting the chemo doesn't really, he's just changing the cap every 25 minutes, and you do it for 5 hours every 25 minutes. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really does go by fast, because if you're in doing treatment for 3 hours anyway, just going ahead and changing it every 25 minutes, keeping it cold, keeping the dries together and all that kind of stuff, and planning for that. Uh, you learn the process, and it doesn't become so tedious in the process. And it's really just simply putting the cap on, taking it off, putting it into dries, taking it out, making sure that it's cold enough to go on the scalp. We chose penguin cold capping because we were able to take it home with us and continue to use it for several hours after the chemotherapy was pushed through. The other kind of cold capping, there's another one that you can use at the facility if they have it. I can't remember the name of it, but you can ask them at your infusion clinic. There's one that's approved for use inside the clinic, and then Penguin is the other one that's approved, but they can't. The facility can't help you with that one because it's technically not approved to be used in the hospital or fusion clinic setting. But that one goes onto your scalp. It just goes on. There's a little hat that goes over top of it, and it just gets really cold. There's a machine there that keeps it cold. But I felt like that one didn't get cold enough. And also for those who have thicker hair, if you have thick hair, the one that you go into get at the infusion clinic is not going to be as good as Penguin cold caps, because the Penguin gets much, much colder because you're putting dry ice on it. And it's going to be more form fitting and tailored to your head. And if you look them up, you'll be able to see the difference. Like the Penguin cold cap can get your entire head, versus the other one gets like to maybe right here. And so you'll have a lot. It's just completely bald by your ears and around the nape of your neck, and the rest of it. You're not going. Nothing is 100%. You're going to lose some hair. You're going to have some thinning, but 100%. The studies have shown, the research have shown that your hair is going to grow back faster. And I can tell you without a doubt that my wife's hair grew back so much faster. Matter of fact, she had a full head of hair by the time she ended chemotherapy. She lost some, I think it was adriamycin, cytoxin. First, second round, she was okay. She started to have some thinning around the third round, and then she lost as much as she was going to lose after the fourth round. And then when she went into Taxol, she actually, her hair that she lost began to grow back. And by the end of Taxol, her hair was fully grown back. Not the length that she had, but the full, she didn't have any bald spots or anything like that. And her eyebrows, her eyelashes, all that grew back. Uh, and that was also part of the vitamin infusion. She did the B vitamins and stuff like that to help the hair, her hair follicles recover and from all the damage done. And which really great for your mental health, because again, you don't want to feel and look like a cancer patient, because people are going to treat you that way. And your mindset, your mindset throughout this entire process is going to set you up for success long term. So I would definitely say look into it. It is pricey. Cold capping is pricey. I believe it was for us $2,400 to use the Penguin cold caps. And you can do it in payments. You can pay it all off at once. And then there are grants and stuff that are out there, and organizations out there that will help assist you paying for it as well if you need it. Because why not? If you can get $1,000 off or something to that effect, or um, it is a medical device. Insurance is not going to pay for it, but it is something that you can look into as far as how that affects your taxes, if you can or can't. I'm not sure. Talk to your tax person about that. but it is something that you may look into as well. So cold capping definitely helped with the hair loss. It didn't eliminate it completely, but she lost maybe about, she had thinning, and it was maybe about 50% of her hair thinned out. And like I said, she's got a full head of hair now, and she's getting braids and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely, the hair definitely comes back stronger than ever. And then one of the other side effects I didn't know a lot about was neuropathy. Neuropathy is when you have the tingling in your fingertips and your toes that can be caused by all kinds of things, but in this case, Taxol can cause neuropathy, and that was something that we wanted to avoid because it can be permanent. And I've heard of people, all kinds of horror stories about neuropathy. And so you want to do whatever you can to try to avoid that. Not everyone is going to get neuropathy. I don't want to say just because you take Taxol, you're going to get it. You may never have anything happen to you. You may feel just a little bit tingly for a bit while you're doing it, and then nothing ever happens. But sometimes the neuropathy can kick in years down the line. So you want to do what you can to avoid any type of nerve damage in your fingertips. And that's what we continued with our cold treatment. We're cold people, so so we don't mind a little bit of cold. But we utilized ice gloves and ice socks. In addition to the cold capping, we took this proactive approach to prevent neuropathy. It's like I said, it's a side effect of Taxol, but we utilize these gloves during the treatment as well. So you're putting the head thing on, and then you're putting the gloves, and you put it on your feet. By cooling the areas, it does the same thing as in your scalp. It constricts the blood vessels, and it reduces the risk of nerve damage. Um, this approach was really based on the principle of the same thing with your scalp. It restricts that blood flow. Chemo is going to get everywhere. There's nothing you can do to stop chemo from getting into your to your entire body, right? But it'll reduce the likelihood of your neuropathy development. And then I want to talk about honorable mentions, uh, and that is exploring the benefits of melatonin. So that's, you may think of melatonin as just simply well, if you don't know what melatonin is, it's a hormone primarily known for regulating your sleep and wake cycles. And it's gained a lot of attention recently for its potential benefits in cancer prevention and treatment. And this is something that my wife did and is on now. Melatonin is naturally produced in your body by doing high dose supplementation, or high dose melatonin supplementation has been studied for its anti-cancer properties. So let's just go a little bit into the benefits of high dose melatonin, and we find from the studies exploring it. First thing is that melatonin is not a vitamin; it's a hormone, and but it's an antioxidant, and it has immune enhancement effects. It acts as this potent antioxidant which protects our cells from oxidative damage, oxidative stress, and DNA damage as well, which is caused by the free radicals. Free radicals are environmental things. This antioxidant property is particularly relevant in cancer, where the imbalance between the free radicals and the antioxidants can contribute to the initiation and the progression of the disease. Additionally, melatonin has been shown to enhance the immune system. And you think melatonin, this is just something to put me to sleep, right? But who knew that it had so many positive effects on the body? It really plays a crucial role in cancer surveillance and defense, as I like to call it. And then its anti-metastatic effects. That's exciting to me, exciting to know that studies have indicated that high dose melatonin possesses an anti proliferation properties, meaning it can impede the growth in the division of the cancer cells. So melatonin has been found to interfere with various cancer promoting pathways, and inhibit the formation of new blood cells to supply the tumors, because that's something that they look for as well when they're looking at your tumors. Do they see any blood vessels going to it? It really induces the apoptosis that we talked about earlier, the programmed cell death, specifically in cancer cells. Melatonin has shown promise in suppressing the cancer metastasis, the spread of cancer cells to distant organs through its anti-inflammatory and anti-invasive effects. Its synergistic effects with cancer treatments. The high dose melatonin has been investigated, studied, for its potential to enhance the effectiveness of conventional cancer treatments like chemotherapy and radiation therapy. The studies have shown and strongly suggest that melatonin's antioxidant and the immunotherapy properties may help protect the healthy cells from treatment-induced damage while sensitizing the cancer cells to the cytotoxic effects of therapy itself. This synergy really has the potential to improve treatment outcomes and reduce the side effects of chemotherapy. And then, as you know, sleep regulation and quality of life. And that one is, I don't want to just kind of casually overlook that, because patients often experience sleep disturbances that can negatively impact their overall well-being. Being sleep deprived is linked to so many issues, and the quality of life issues as well. Melatonin supplementation, even at its lower doses, have shown to improve sleep duration. As you know, if you've ever taken it, your sleep duration, your sleep quality, and the efficiency of your sleep. It promotes better sleep patterns. And by promoting these better sleep patterns, melatonin can potentially contribute to the overall well-being and recovery of cancer patients altogether. And then lastly, again, when you get off this, but the clinical studies and the evidence there have been some clinical studies that have explored the use of high dose of melatonin in cancer patients. Of course, the research is still ongoing and more large-scale trials are needed. Really, the studies have reported promising results for high dose melatonin. And we're talking about higher numbers now for melatonin, the studies have shown the potential in improving the survival rates, reducing the tumor progression, and enhancing the efficacy of cancer treatments in certain types of cancer, including breast cancer, lung cancer, which is lung cancer is a deadly one, and then colon cancer. High dose melatonin supplementation, it really holds promise as a complementary approach in the prevention and treatment because of its strong antioxidant, immune enhancing, anti metastatic properties, along with its ability to help you regulate your sleep quality, and then its synergistic potential with conventional treatments, which make it a really great thing to continue to research. And will give you the warning that high doses of melatonin, it really needs to be guided through your healthcare professional. People respond to small levels of melatonin already, but really, really high doses, when we're talking about hundreds of milligrams of melatonin, can be dangerous. I know for me, even if I take 5 milligrams, I'm really sensitive to it. So you had to build your way up to it. for melatonin. So melatonin is great. And then last thing I'll get into that we focused on is something that I love if you watch my channel for any period of time, and that's vitamin D. And vitamin D is often referred to as the the sunshine vitamin. It obviously plays a role in maintaining your overall health and well-being. Beyond its well-known role in bone health, um, teeth and hair, and just all the research have shown that vitamin D um, has so many significant impacts, such an insignificant impact to our overall body, but also uh, in cancer prevention and treatment. So just to go real quick into uh, the advantages of vitamin D, specifically in the context of cancer, it one has anti-cancer properties. It really, vitamin D, and we're talking about vitamin D, uh, D3, anti-cancer properties through several different mechanisms, and that's regulation of the cell growth. Vitamin D helps regulate your cell growth and the differentiation, preventing uncontrolled cell proliferation, which is the hallmark of cancer. Adequate vitamin D levels have been associated with reduced risk of several types of cancer, and I think mainly in colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer. Oh, and ovarian cancer. A lot of these, as you can see, are hormone-based cancer areas. And then the anti-inflammatory effects. I think inflammation is probably one of the, and especially chronic inflammation, is is linked with a lot of diseases, but is very linked with cancer development as well. And vitamin D possesses the anti-inflammatory properties, which reduces your inflammation altogether, and it potentially uh, inhibits the tumor growth through its reduction of your inflammation overall. And then there's the modulation of the immune system. Vitamin D plays such a crucial role in modulating the immune system, which means it stimulates the immune system and the immune cells and promotes an anti-tumor immune response, aiding in the recognition and elimination of cancer cells. And that's what you want, is you want the body to recognize the cancer cells and then get rid of it. Also, the cancer risk reduction. Studies have shown that maintaining adequate vitamin D levels may lower the risk of developing certain types of cancer. For example, people with higher vitamin D levels have been found to have a decreased risk of colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer. Of course, they always say a lot more studies need to be done and all that kind of stuff, but there's definitely a definitive causation there that indicates potential protective role of vitamin D against cancer development. And vitamin D also, there's a complementary role in cancer treatment. That vitamin D complements the conventional cancer treatments as well. So there's many vitamin D. I got to make a whole series on vitamin D and what it does for your body and how many processes in your body that it's responsible for. So vitamin D supplementation is a great thing to consider, especially being that we're inside most of the time. I like to go outside every single day just to be in the sun. It's very difficult to high dose vitamin D, meaning to overdose in vitamin D. There are some side effects with getting super high doses, but it's not likely that you're going to be able to to overdose on vitamin D, because you think about it, your body makes it by being exposed to the sun, and I believe it's somewhere around 20%. If you expose your 40% of your body to the sun for 20 minutes, that's about 10,000 international units. which is a lot. And so if you do that plus take a supplement, because it doesn't really exist, there's not a lot of foods out there that are really high in vitamin D, enough to give you your uh, daily dose of vitamin D. One of the side effects just to be careful with is if you're on a high dose of vitamin D, or if even if you spend a lot of time outside and you're getting vitamin D naturally that way, is to make sure you're taking vitamin K2 as well, because it helps regulate the calcium that is in your blood. It basically takes the excess amounts of calcium in your blood and puts it into your bones and your teeth and everywhere else that calcium is supposed to go. And it takes it from just roaming around in your blood, which can cause plaque and all that kind of stuff, and calcium deposits, and kidney stones as well. So you want to just be careful with excessive amounts of vitamin D if you're not taking vitamin K2 as well. K2 is easy to get K1 through green leafy vegetables, but K2, I think I want to say it's only that fermented natto stuff that doesn't taste very good to me. It doesn't taste very good, so I make sure that I take a vitamin K2 supplement. And there's ones out there that has vitamin D and vitamin K2 out there. I like Cotage. They have one that has zinc, vitamin D, and vitamin K2 as well. And these vitamin D is actually technically, so it's a hormone, but same with K2, I believe it's considered. I don't know. I think that might be no. I don't think K2 is considered a hormone. But anyway, it's critical for you to get your vitamin D because it helps with your overall health in general. And that's what we did. And these are some of the strategies we did with my wife to support her well-being through her breast cancer treatment. This really minimized the side effects of all of these drugs and all the things that they're pumping into your body. It's important to note that these approaches were implemented with the guidance of healthcare professionals. Not again, not for their permission, because I always say that you take control over your own health. It's just running it by them to make sure there's nothing that's going to impact the efficacy of the chemotherapy and only going to increase that, but you're also going to reduce the long-term damage as well, because there's some significant damage that can be caused by chemotherapy long-term. So I wanted to share that with you, all the research that we've done over the years, and in this case is anecdotal evidence. Every cancer journey is unique, and it is crucial that you understand that it's unique to you. And the things that I talked about are very generic, and there are some other things that we did, but they were specific to her plan. There's a lot of emotion involved in all of this, and I can understand that how you could be excited to do one thing, and the doctor may tell you not to do something else, not to do that. But just if you trust them to give you chemotherapy, trust them that they don't want you to do a certain thing. But make sure if they tell you they don't want you to do vitamin C, they don't want you to do this, that, whatever, then you ask them why, and you want to see the evidence. But so thank you for joining me on this emotional but empowering journey. Please stay tuned for more episodes of Organically David, where we explore natural and holistic approaches to living a healthy and fulfilling life. If you don't remember anything else, please remember to live life, your best life, and hopefully your best life is living life organically. Please follow me on Instagram at Organically David. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, like this video, and comment down below of anything else you want to discuss. We could talk about anything. My wife also went through an MS journey back in 2008. She's been asymptomatic I've been treating that with vitamin D, as we talked about the many, many benefits of vitamin D and some of the stress reduction techniques that she had to do throughout that process as well. But please, again, if you don't do anything else, live life, love life, and live life organically.